You arrive at a party 10 minutes late. The room is already alive. Music is playing. People are holding drinks. Small groups have formed around the room. Everyone seems to know where they belong. You do not. You spot someone you know near a group of strangers. You could walk over, but first, you wait. Maybe they will notice you. Maybe someone will make space. Maybe the conversation will slow down enough for you to enter naturally. It never does. So you take out your phone and scroll without reading anything. You are not checking messages. You are trying to hide the fact that you do not know what to do. Then someone finally looks at you. Hey, how have you been? It is an easy question, but your mind suddenly becomes crowded. Do I sound nervous? Should I give a short answer? Am I smiling too much? You say something. They respond politely. Then there is a pause. Only 2 seconds. But it feels like proof that the conversation is dying because of you. Someone else joins the group. You step back. You laugh when they laugh. You nod when they speak. You stay long enough to avoid looking awkward, then quietly move away. Later, in bed, you replay the whole night. The pause, the weak answer. The moment you stood alone, you imagine how confident people would have handled it, and you tell yourself, I am just bad with people. But no one at that party rejected you. Most of them were barely thinking about you. The person judging you all night was you. You were not simply trying to have a conversation. You were watching yourself have one. And when every word becomes evidence of your value, even a normal party can feel like a public test you are already failing. Most people explain experiences like that party in a simple way. They say they are shy, introverted, bad at conversation, not naturally charismatic. And sometimes those labels feel useful. They give you a reason for why social situations feel difficult. But they can also become a cage, because once you decide, this is just who I am, you stop examining what actually happens inside you. The problem is not always that you lack things to say. At the party, you had thoughts. You noticed the room. You understood the conversation. You probably even imagined better responses later. Your mind was not empty. It was overloaded. You were listening to the group, watching their reactions, monitoring your voice, judging your posture, predicting rejection, preparing your next sentence, and reviewing the last one. That is not a lack of social ability. That is attention divided into too many directions. Imagine trying to read a page while someone keeps asking whether you look intelligent. You would struggle to understand the words. Not because you cannot read, because part of your attention is being used to manage an image. Social interaction works the same way. The moment you become overly concerned with how you are being perceived, the other person stops being a person. They become an evaluator. Their face becomes feedback. Their silence becomes a score. Their disagreement becomes a threat. This does not mean social skills are irrelevant. Some people do need to learn how to listen, ask better questions, tell stories, or read boundaries. But skills alone cannot make you confident if every interaction still feels like a judgment of your worth. You can memorize conversation techniques and still feel trapped. You can improve your eye contact and still panic inside. You can become funnier and still feel that one quiet reaction exposes you. So social confidence needs a different definition. It is not the ability to control every conversation. It is not the ability to make everyone like you. It is the ability to remain present when you cannot control what another person thinks. That is the first layer of the problem. You are not always afraid of conversation itself. You are afraid of what the conversation might seem to prove about you. And that fear did not begin at the party. It was built much earlier. The fear of being judged is not really about words. It is about identity. When you enter a social situation, you are not only hoping the conversation goes well, you are hoping it confirms something about you, that you are interesting, that you belong, that you are attractive enough, smart enough, confident enough. So when the interaction feels awkward, the pain becomes larger than the moment itself. A short reply does not feel like a short reply. It feels like evidence that you are boring. Someone looking away does not feel neutral. It feels like proof that you are not worth attention. This is why your mind becomes so alert. It is not simply trying to communicate. It is trying to protect your identity from damage. Your brain begins scanning for danger. facial expressions, tone of voice, pauses, changes in energy, anything that might signal rejection. But here is the twist. The more closely you search for rejection, the more rejection you begin to see. A tired person looks uninterested. A distracted person looks annoyed. A quiet moment looks like failure. Your mind fills every gap with the explanation you fear most. It is like walking through a dark room while expecting something to attack you. Every shadow becomes suspicious. Every sound feels important. And because your attention is focused on threat, you stop noticing the rest of reality. You miss the fact that the other person may also be nervous. You miss the questions you could ask. You miss the story they are trying to tell. You miss the chance to become curious. This is why self-consciousness creates the very awkwardness you are trying to avoid. You become less present. You listen less deeply. You respond less naturally. Then the conversation feels disconnected, and your mind says, "See, I knew I was bad at this." But the interaction did not reveal your true social value. It revealed what happens when fear controls your attention. Confidence begins to change when you stop asking, "How am I doing?" and start asking, "What is actually happening here?" Because the person in front of you is not a mirror, they are a human being, and connection becomes possible only when you stop using them to measure yourself. This fear did not grow in isolation. It was shaped by the world around you. Social media trained you to see interaction as performance. You learned to compare your ordinary moments with someone else's most polished ones. You watched people appear confident, funny, attractive, and socially effortless. But you rarely saw the hesitation before the post, the awkward silence outside the frame, the insecurity behind the image. Over time, you may have started believing that being accepted means presenting the right version of yourself, not the honest version, the impressive one. So before speaking, you edit. Before posting, you calculate. Before entering a room, you compare. You do not ask, "What do I want to say?" You ask, "What version of me will be safest here?" That habit can begin even earlier. Maybe you were praised when you performed well, ignored when you were quiet, embarrassed when you made a mistake, compared with someone more confident, or taught that rejection meant something was wrong with you. Slowly, acceptance stopped feeling like a human experience. It started feeling like a reward you had to earn. Imagine walking into every room carrying an invisible application form. You are constantly trying to prove that you are interesting enough to stay, funny enough to be included, confident enough to deserve attention. No conversation can feel natural under that pressure. And this is the deeper definition of social insecurity. It is not only fear of people, it is dependence on their reactions to decide how you should feel about yourself. That is why one compliment can lift you. One cold response can ruin your evening. One unanswered message can create hours of overthinking. The solution is not to stop caring about people completely. It is to stop giving every reaction the power to define you. Because social confidence begins when another person's opinion becomes information, not a verdict. The solution is not to become fearless. It is to stop making fear the center of every interaction. Start by changing the goal. Do not enter a conversation trying to be impressive. Enter trying to be present. Instead of asking, "Do they like me?" ask, "What can I understand about this person?" Instead of planning your next sentence, listen for something real, a detail, an emotion, a story, a question worth asking. This shifts your attention away from performance and back toward connection. You also need to stop treating every awkward moment as a disaster. A pause is not failure. A short answer is not rejection. A conversation ending naturally does not mean you did something wrong. Social confidence grows when you allow small imperfections without turning them into identity. Think of it like learning to swim. If you panic every time water touches your face, your body becomes stiff. But when you accept the discomfort, you move more naturally. Social situations work the same way. Let yourself feel nervous. Let your voice shake a little. Let one joke fail. Let one conversation be average. Your goal is not to control every outcome. Your goal is to stay present without abandoning yourself. You can practice this in small ways. Say hello first. Ask one honest question. Stay in the conversation 10 seconds longer than usual. Share one real opinion instead of the safest one. Then leave without reviewing every sentence. Do not measure success by whether they approved of you. Measure it by whether you showed up honestly. Because confidence is not built when every interaction goes well. It is built when an interaction feels uncertain and you remain yourself anyway. You do not become socially confident by making every conversation go perfectly. You become confident when imperfect conversations no longer destroy the way you see yourself. Some people will like you, some will not. Some conversations will flow, others will feel ordinary, quiet, or awkward. None of that defines your value. The real shift happens when you stop entering every room asking, "Will they accept me?" and start asking, "Can I remain present without betraying myself?" That is social confidence, not performance, not approval, not control, presence. The ability to listen without rehearsing, to speak without hiding every imperfect part, to survive a pause without panicking, to leave a conversation without putting yourself on trial. You do not need to become the most charismatic person in the room. You only need to stop treating every room like a courtroom. Because the moment you stop using other people's reactions to measure your worth, you finally become free enough to connect with them. And if you want more videos that help you build real confidence, emotional strength, and discipline in a world that constantly pulls you away from yourself, subscribe. Not to become someone else, but to become more honest, more present, and more capable of becoming who you already know you can be.